Hi guys, my name is Emily, and today I'm going to be talking about the script for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by J.K. Rowling. Just so you know, I do plan on seeing the film. I was asked to talk about the film. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on Fantastic Beasts. Have you read it? Have you seen it? Are you just feeling the oversaturation of Harry Potter this year? We've had a lot of things from Rowling. Let's get into my thoughts on the script. While I have never read a script for a film, I get the impression that this is very much a script that is meant to be read, just based on some of the notes in it. I can't imagine an actor being given this much direction in the script. Maybe I'm wrong. It seems to be a thing that's supposed to be read, which meant that it was a very interesting reading experience. So this is the story of Newt Scamander. Newt Scamander is the guy who wrote the fake Harry Potter textbook, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This is unfortunately out of print right now. I have so many people coming into the bookstore looking to purchase the textbook for Christmas. They are reprinting them soonish. Newt Scamander is a British wizard in the 1920s who has traveled over to America. So obviously, because he's writing this textbook on magical creatures, he's sort of a collector of creatures, and he's got this magic trunk that has basically a zoo inside of it. Unfortunately, his case is opened and the animals escape all over the city. And running parallel to this is a Salem witch trials revival. There's some tension there in terms of wizard-muggle relations. The American Ministry of Magic, which has its own acronym that I can never remember, it is the Magical Congress of the United States of America. They seem a lot more militant than the Ministry of Magic we see many years later in the Harry Potter series. They're also preoccupied with Grindelwald. This is the time of Grindelwald, who is Albus Dumbledore's rival slash lover, question mark, in the Harry Potter series. We find out about him in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. And so all of these things are kind of occurring at the same time. So we have Newt, we have Salem witch trial revivalists, and we have Grindelwald. It was a lot better than I was expecting. I'm actually hopeful and looking forward to this being a 5-film series. I'm looking forward to seeing the film as I was reading this, because it's a script that kind of seems to be directing the visuals that are happening. I'm very much picturing this being very beautiful and magical, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to talk about a couple of questions that I think I can ask without spoiling you. So my first thing is that Grindelwald, who we know to be present in the UK in the Harry Potter series, is a concern in North America. At one point we actually see a gathering of various heads of magical governments, and they are all talking about what to do with Grindelwald. It is an international concern. My question then is, was Voldemort, the quote-unquote darkest wizard to ever live, not an international concern? Because we never see the involvement of MACUSA or any other magical governments during Voldemort's return. There's no indication that other magical governments were involved 50 years ago in the Harry Potter series when Voldemort first rose to power. Why is Dumbledore all alone as sort of this like rebel anti-ministry figure who's developing the Order of the Phoenix to fight Voldemort? Like, why is it so incestual and internal in the UK when we know that there are other wizarding governments that have been working together in the 1920s, so many years in the past? What happened to the relationships between the UK Ministry of Magic and the rest of the world? The other question I have, which I also don't think is a spoiler, is at some point, for reasons, our cast of characters ends up in a bar meeting sort of this mob boss figure. And the mob boss figure is a goblin who I assume from the context is the owner of the bar. Now the bar has house elves laboring in it. When our characters walk into the bar, they're like, man, I could use a drink, and a house elf comes running over and hands a drink to our characters. And then later, when our characters are meeting with this sort of mob boss, an elf comes running over with a contract and he signs it, and then they take it away. So he seems to be in control of this bar, he seems to be the owner of the bar, and the house elves seem to be in his employ? Question mark? By setting this in America, which has a history of slavery and which has a whole civil rights movement. What happens to the house elves in that context? Was there also sort of a parallel civil rights movement amongst enslaved creatures in the United States? Are these house elves in the bar employees? Are they slaves, like the house elves in the UK? I don't know. Let's leave a pin in that and see if they're answered. If not, I have a lot of questions. The thing that spins off of this, so thinking about house elves as enslaved, led me to question whether or not there were ever black witches enslaved in the United States. Because there's a history of slavery, what happened to black wizards? In the Harry Potter series, we seem to see all witches and wizards as equal, and that it is your race in the fantasy sense, as in like elves, dwarves, wizards, giants, goblins, that sort of puts you in a social hierarchy opposed to your actual skin color. And I have a lot of questions now about if the Wizarding Society in America has run parallel to the Muggle history of racism and civil rights. I have so many questions that are, I think, unanswerable at this moment without seeing more of the world. So those are the thoughts that I have after reading the script, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I would love to see the film. Maybe there are things in the film that might answer some of these questions. Something that maybe doesn't come across in the text of the script that might come across visually, like, is MACUSA, the American wizarding government, all white in the 1920s? Do we see some diversity amongst wizards in MACUSA? Those are my thoughts on the screenplay. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.